This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings, powered by eXp Realty. Online at madeformoreliving.com.
So before we go into politics, because I think, this is a political year and it's an interesting topic. Valerie, obviously you and I work together. For those of you who don't know, Valerie is my ex-girlfriend, aka my wife. And so we get to do this crazy business together, but you're also a mom, right? And so how, like, what when you are going throughout your day, you were joking that like there's all these ups and downs between business and kids. How can we how can I help you in that?
Wow.
I think this is a safe place.
He said that terribly.
Oh, I'm nervous. I'm
How
nervous.
can I help you with that?
I'm nervous.
I
Where
think
do I
what he wants to know is, what is he doing wrong?
No, I want to know what I'm doing right too. Tell me what I'm doing right. But go ahead. What am I doing wrong? How can I help you? Or how can I do? What am I doing good that I should do more of? Let's start it off positive.
It's taking her a long
I know,
time
it's
to think
taken her
about
a long
that.
time.
Yeah. No, I think
He's a good provider, right?
Yeah. No.
I am not a good provider. I'm a good spender.
Yeah.
Are you? You're the spender?
Oh, 1,000.
Oh, yeah.
1,000%.
Oh, wow. It is true.
Johnny
yeah.
called me yesterday and he was like, "Be proud of me. Guess what? I didn't spend money today." And I was like, "Oh, good job."
So who handles the finances in your relationship? Is it split or?
So all same bank accounts.
Yeah. But we have business and personal.
Who manages
so.
is there one person that manages the money? Or no, you said that Johnny manages the business side of it.
Correct.
You handle the personal side of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
That makes sense.
But that's where Pandora's box, because Johnny loves to spend money on the business. Like he's like, "Oh, this new tool, we can increase our productivity and get new leads and stuff." Like,
but it seems like Johnny, and I'm sorry, we're just having a conversation about you.
It's okay.
But
I'm
he's
just
a
here.
very analytical. Everything in the spreadsheet has its box. Very organized person. So it seems like that type of temperament, that type of personality would be more budget conscious about what they're spending, what's coming in, what's going out. But you're saying no?
I mean, yeah. So he does. He thinks about it like, okay, how is this going to increase our top line, right? Not necessarily like, is there enough money for this, but like, are we going to see an increase if I implement this?
You hit it on the head.
Yeah.
You hit it on the head. It's not, do we have enough money for this, but would this help?
Yeah.
That's those, two sides of the same coin. You probably should have enough money before you invest.
But do you think about
That's what
those
I'm
kind of
always
things?
saying.
Do I?
I mean, you obviously look at the potential, like, oh my gosh, look at what a great investment this is going to be.
So the
Do you
difference,
Go ahead.
difference between Valerie and I is I tend to be skewed more positive. Like I think at the best possible outcome, and Valerie thinks, hey, the worst possible outcome.
Yeah.
So we have to bridge that gap.
Or is she just being realistic and...
More often or not, she's being realistic.
Okay, she's not just a Debbie Downer, like, oh my gosh, what if this happens?
No, the biggest financial mistakes I've ever made, I said, no, we're going to do this. I think this is good. She's like, I don't think so. And I went forward anyways. And biggest, like, for example, the reason why I was calling Valerie yesterday is because I had signed up for a company. We were going to partner with this company, and it ended up being a total bait and switch. It was horrible. Horrible. Wow. And I wanted out, and I've been trying to get out for like almost 4 years. I've been trying to get out of this arrangement, and they were just ghosting me. And then they said I owed them a bunch of money, and they were essentially suing us. And so I had hired an attorney, and the attorney said, oh my gosh, thank you for hiring us. This is totally illegal what they're doing. Like I was totally getting taken advantage of. And he ended up saving us, I think it was like $14,600, right?
Yeah.
Which isn't like millions of dollars, but man, that'll buy some cigars. And so that'll put some diapers on the babies. But that's what I was celebrating was that, hey, instead of us having to pay all this money, I actually saved us money. But the risk was I could pay the attorneys a bunch of money and then still owe the money on the other side. And so Valerie was coming at it from, hey, you know what? This could actually cost us more money in the long run. And me, with the more optimistic perspective, said, hey, it could save us a lot of money.
Right. And you're just more of a risk taker naturally, too. Like, you like, okay, let's see what happens. And the upside potential could be there, so let's risk it and see if we can, get to that upside, right? Whereas I'm like, well, there's also a really big downside. So
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good to know about Johnny as I grow in my relationship with him, to know that he's constantly wanting to take risks, and it's okay to recommend that he put on the brakes.
thank you. The more people in life that we have that
But
to
also
speak wisdom into Johnny's ear.
But also, the biggest wins, the people that are most successful in
Yep.
the history of the United States have taken those risks. There, you won't find any success story where someone didn't decide to take a risk.
100%, yeah. And that's why, we've been together for a long time, but that's why I've learned to get outside of my comfortable little bubble and listen to Johnny sometimes too. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. Like, even though this is uncomfortable for me, let's go ahead and do it anyways.
Yeah,
So.
because worst case scenario, what's going to happen? Like I heard it once. I can't remember. It was a billionaire. I can't remember the guy's name, but he said, "Never bet the farm. Never bet the farm. Like take risks, take chances, put yourself out there, but never take yourself bet so heavy that it takes you out of the game." And so that's where my stopgap is like, hey, is this going to bankrupt us? Is this going to put us in financial hardship? And then that's where I walk away.
Well, that's smart.
Yeah.
Then.
But if it's like, hey, this might cost us thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, okay, what's the risk versus reward? Worst case scenario, we lose it all. We're still in the game. And so that's where I balance it.
That's smart.
But there's a lot of people who are feeling that right now in politics too.
Yeah, and I'm curious. I wanted to ask that question real quick. Do you guys both? You have to say which side of the aisle you agree with, or do you agree politically, both of you guys?
Yeah, I'd say for the most part. Yeah.
I don't even know what we disagree on, honestly.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
My wife
go
and I
there.
agree for the most part. She's a little bit more. I don't know. She's a little bit more, I will say, conservative than I am.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I wouldn't have
We're
guessed
both
that.
conservative. I'll put that out there. I don't care. But we're both conservative, but she's just a little bit more conservative in her beliefs, where I'm a little bit more skeptical. I would say she's more of a conspiracy theorist believer.
She's one of
And I'm like,
those.
come on.
I love those people.
Come on.
They're very entertaining.
They're so fun to talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were
I
talking
mean,
with a friend the other day, and she was like, "Look, Bigfoot does exist. Check out this footage. This is irrefutable."
That's what my wife will do. She doesn't go as far as Bigfoot. I mean, she's not that crazy, but she will say, "Did you see this?" And I'm like, "Babe, you're watching too much social media. You can't believe." Johnny told me himself, what was it, last week? Don't believe 100% of the stuff you hear and only half the stuff you see.
Exactly.
Right?
Never let you down.
Yeah. But we are obviously in a political season, so how's that affecting the real estate market?
Well, it's kind of the same thing, right? Like there are people out there who believe in aliens and Bigfoot and conspiracies, and they're way out there. I don't know. I think it would be ignorant to say we're the only sentient beings in the universe, but
Coming from a Trekkie.
oh gosh, yep, Star Trek, and then TNG, the best version, and then there's people out there who are doom and gloom about the political cycle. Like whether Kamala or Trump becomes president, depending on what your perspective is. Trump gets in, that's great. Kamala gets in, that's great. And a lot of people are waiting to see what happens. But here's where I kind of get frustrated with people is, and maybe frustrated isn't the right word. It's just people are delaying taking action because they're nervous. They're delaying selling their home. They're delaying purchasing a home because they're nervous. I totally get that. If I was looking to sell a property or buy a property right now, I would probably feel the same way. But then you have to look at it. What happened when Obama was president? He was a Democrat. Home prices went up. What happened when Trump was president? Home prices went up. What happened when Biden was president? Home prices went up. And so if you're considering what's going to happen in this next political cycle, odds are home prices are going to go up. And it really doesn't matter what's happening right now. It matters what's happening 5 to 10 years from now. So regardless if Kamala or Trump becomes president, Trump, this would be his last term. Kamala could maybe get hired for 2 more terms. 10 years from now, she's not even in the White House, right? It's going to be somebody completely different.
Right.
The economic landscape, the global landscape is going to be completely different. So if
And
you're worried
you're
about what's happening now, you're focusing. Real estate is not the stock market, right, Val?
Right, yeah. I mean, real estate's way more of a long game. I was just circling back to the whole 10-year thing that you were referencing, because most people stay in their home anywhere from 7 to 10 years, and that's the normal like real estate type cycle, right? And so that's why it's not the stock market that changes, 10 minutes to a day. It changes really, really, really quickly, whereas the real estate market, it's a lot longer of a cycle. I mean, if somebody wanted to put their house on the market based on some election results, right? They're probably 3 or 4 weeks away from putting their home on the market. Then it's on the market for a while, and then a whole nother month before it closes escrow. So our cycle is just a lot longer in general.
Yeah.
Right. And I wish you guys had the money that some of our presidential campaigns have, the millions of dollars to get those messages out, because that's not what they're hearing. They're hearing constant messages. If Donald Trump gets in the White House, it's going to destroy America. It's going to destroy our economy. Other people say if Kamala Harris becomes president, it's going to destroy this country. And people feel nervous about that. They're like, oh my gosh, holy cow. This is what they're being inundated with on a constant basis. This message of this is it. This is the most important election of our lifetime. If you don't vote correctly, it could mean doom and gloom for this country, or it could mean the best times of our country we've ever had. So yeah, you have people saying, yeah, I can afford to buy a house, but I'm going to wait. I'm unclear of where this country is going to go, because I've been told that it could go either direction depending on who gets into the White House.
It's just
so you have to clear up all that misinformation.
Yeah, you got to figure what is the news purpose. It's not to inform. I mean, this might be a little conspiracy theorist-y, but what they're doing is they're selling advertising slots.
Yeah.
And so, in order
to real estate companies
to sell, to Pfizer and to GM and to all these big companies, and so in order to have eyeballs on the screens, whether it's on your phone, your TV, wherever, to have eyeballs on the screen, you have to be you have to incite some type of an emotional response. And unfortunately, going back, since the dawn of newspapers, if it bleeds, it leads. And hearing that, no, real estate's good, real estate's going to appreciate, nobody cares about that. They're worried. They want to hear the bad stuff.
Right.
And if they want to hear the bad stuff, that's what they're being fed, and that puts more eyeballs on the screen, and that increases how much money you can generate off of your advertising slots. And so just don't, I wouldn't even plug into the news. Like the best thing Valerie and I have ever done, well, I can't speak to Valerie. The best thing I've ever done was I stopped listening to the news. Every person I've ever spoken to that has done this has seen a tremendous benefit to their health, their emotional state, and to their productivity and their overall output, because they're not consuming all this negative information that you can't do anything about. You can cast your ballot. Yes, go out, vote. I'm not saying don't vote. You can cast your ballot, but it's one vote.
Yeah.
You're not going to sway who is getting in the White House.
Well, don't say your vote doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm not saying your vote doesn't
matters.
matter. I'm not saying your vote doesn't matter, but do what can. I'm saying just do what you can and then let the rest go.
Yeah, that's true.
Vote and then let the rest go. You're not going to convince your family members, at Thanksgiving, that your president is the best one or the worst one, right? You're not going to sway somebody politically. Just let it go. You're not going to and that person in the office. Here's something that's really interesting, Val. Is I was listening to, I think it was the former CEO or president of Goldman Sachs. He was like he was like there for 8 or 10 years, and he was there during the Great Recession. And what he was sharing was how influential the Oval Office is, how influential the president is. Because here's people who handle billions, if not trillions of dollars, and they're being told, come down to the White House. So they drop everything that they have going on, and they fly down to the White House the next day, and they are then told what type of things they should promote. They are then told how they will benefit financially if they push certain things. And so when it comes to the person in the White House influencing things, I can see it more in those types of situations, more in the stock market, but less in real estate, because real estate is also a very local thing. There's local regulations, there's state level regulations, there's city and county ordinances. There's so much that the president just can't wave his magic wand or her magic wand and get something done. There's just all these layers of checks and balances that the president would have to carve through in order to make wide sweeping changes with the stroke of a pen.
That's a good point.
And so,
And even though they do have influence on interest rates, even that doesn't affect the housing market as much as people think it does. Interest rates go up, they go down, people are still buying and selling, it still keeps going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So aside from politics and marriage, you guys have been doing pretty well recently, closing some homes. Do you have any stories to share of any homes that you've helped people sell, some transactions that went really well?
Yeah, the first one that comes to mind is a client of ours. We were actually selling us the second home for this family. Yeah. So what's their situation is the daughter is trying to get her parents into a comfortable space. So dad went into a home because he needs a little bit more care now. And then mom is moving in with her. And so just consolidating their life. And, they had, all three of them had houses and they don't really.
And mom and dad weren't together, just for clarity's sake.
Yeah, just for clarity. But, a lot of folks take care of their parents and try to get them set up comfortably in their retirement, right?
Are we taking care of your parents?
It depends.
Drop that bomb.
No, here's the thing.
Thanksgiving's going to be fun.
There's different levels of taking care of, right? Like this daughter, she made sure that he's set up financially. He's in a home, right? It's not like he's moving in with her into her house, right?
Yeah.
So there's, so there's different ways to take care of your parents. But anyways, that was the second one that we got sold for that family. So they're able to kind of, move on with their life in a little bit more streamlined manner, and everyone's taking. But
that's just so much
yeah.
fun because, I remember meeting them at meeting the daughter at the first house, and she's like, "Hey, my parents are probably going to sell. If you do a good job on this house, let's sell the next one."
Yeah.
And we did a great job on the first house. We got the second house, and we sold the second house, and she's just ecstatic. And that's I love those types of moments.
Yeah.
Why?
Because there's so many things that go wrong in a transaction. There's so many bumps along the road that for somebody. And oftentimes, unfortunately, real estate agents, I think, are seen more as a commodity. We're not really valued. But so when somebody says, hey, I really appreciate and value the work that you did, so much so that I'm going to refer you to my dad, like that just, how could that not feel good?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But, so
I like that. Yeah, it's true because, you've done a good job and, you've helped multiple people.
And
that's
that,
good.
And so yes, we have more 5-star reviews than anybody else in the area. Like we sell a house, on average every 3 days. Like we have all these things, but it's moments like that where I'm like, hey, that was freaking cool.
Yeah,
I want to tell my kid about those types of stories.
It feels good to make people happy to serve others. That's the bottom line. It feels good when you're able to serve somebody and satisfy somebody.
Absolutely.
Help fill their needs.
So if you want help, if you want to reach out to us, just go to madeformorerealty.com and we're happy to help.
And talk about politics.
Kamala Trump.
No.
What is it? Donald Kamala. Donald Harris.
That's right.
Donald Harris.
And I always say it doesn't matter who's president, God is in the throne, no matter what, right?
Amen.
100%.